Good morning. My name is Charlene Dickinson, and I am SCOTA Advisor at Texas Woman's University Dental Hygiene Program. I am excited to be here today to introduce our career panelists. We have a group of registered dental hygienists that has represented the profession of dental hygiene very proudly, both in their communities and being part of their professional organization. They have volunteered their time to be here today to share their journey with the future of dental hygiene. So they have, students, each panelist is going to have 10 minutes to share their journey. You were giving a list of panelists with their bio and their headshot so you can know a little bit about them up front. So at the end, we will give time for questions. So students, if you want to ask questions, you must raise your hand and you will be called upon at the order that your hand was raised. So be patient. So let's get started. So our first panelist is a graduate from the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. Welcome, Dr. Josephine Ortiz Wolfe.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Charlene, for the invitation to be here. It really means a lot to me to be able to speak to our future dental hygiene professionals. I'll share a little bit with you about my journey. I don't know that I'll take the whole 10 minutes. I don't know that it's really that interesting, but, I started off as actually, I would consider myself a late career starter because I actually did not take my first college course until I was 30 years old. So I wanted to go to hygiene school. So I began my journey, and very quickly in hygiene school, I realized that, there was a need that dental hygienists could fill in our communities. I was quickly introduced to community health, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I knew from that point on that I wanted to do something in public health. I felt like as a dental hygienist, I had a skill set that was needed in the public health community. And so I had some amazing professors that encouraged me and voluntold me essentially to take part of some projects that I did not think I was qualified to do. But they, said, oh no, you're going to do them. And so I did. And I'm so glad that they saw that potential in me when perhaps I didn't see it in myself. But after hygiene school, I was accepted as a National Health Service Corps alumni. And what that means is I accepted a contract to practice in a community health center that was qualified or kind of categorized as being in an area that did not have enough medical or dental professionals. And in exchange for that, I received some training in public health, a little bit, but also I was able to have some of my student debt forgiven. So that was extremely helpful, and what an amazing opportunity that was, because I was able early on to see the needs in a community health center. I should have timed myself. I guess somebody will tell me if I'm running out of time. And right out of hygiene school, I actually started on my PhD journey. I realized that I wanted to do research. And so I started right out of hygiene school. I did not take a break. I was also an only parent, raising two kids on my own. I was the first in my family to attend a university. So navigating the university system, I didn't realize it then. I realize it now, being a part of academia, how much I really did not know. So that was a challenge in addition to just finishing the program. But along the way, I was able to do some very interesting things as a dental hygienist. I was able to run a school-based dental sealant program for the city of San Antonio. So I did that for many years, and we actually built it to be one of the largest school-based dental sealant programs in the nation, school-based, not mobile. But then after that, as I was working through writing my PhD, I decided to transition into part-time work so I could focus on that PhD, and I was able to do operational management for private practice. And then that led me into, once I finished my PhD, I transitioned into a research position at a think tank. So the Texas Health Institute is a public health institute for the state of Texas, and they conduct research for all sorts of different activities. But what I wanted to point out is that although I was in public health and although I was conducting research, the skill set that I had as a dental hygienist was really what was the most valuable. That was as statisticians or biostatisticians, we can conduct all of the research that we want, but without really having the knowledge of what is the subject matter, what are we studying, how does this actually affect our communities, and that knowledge that comes with being a dental hygienist is so vital to be able to conduct any type of research. I also think that as many of you are beginning to think about what's after hygiene school, think about the capacity that you have beyond treating individual patients. Think about the capacity that you have to influence the direction that, say, your practice is treating patients, or the way that your community is addressing not just dental issues or health issues, but overall health issues. Think about the impact that you can have at a state level, and think about the impact that you can have at a national level. I think that several of our panelists are probably going to talk about a lot of those things. The current oral health care system is set up in a way currently that it perpetuates poor oral health for certain communities. Marginalized and underserved communities do not have the access to care that they need. And our oral health care system is set up in such a way that it essentially perpetuates poor oral health. And we're seeing that in the literature. We see that in the data. And you as a dental health provider have the capacity to influence that and make changes. And I will let the others speak, and then I'm happy to take questions later.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wolfe. The next panelist on your list is a graduate from Tarrant County College Dental Hygiene Program, Miss Tammy Allen. And Tammy had a family medical emergency and could not make it today. So our next panelist is a graduate from the College of Southern Nevada Dental Hygiene Program. Welcome, Miss Terry Chandler.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and greetings from Las Vegas, Nevada. You can see my slot machines behind me. So I guess my journey started pretty early in life. I was 19 years old when I graduated from a certification course to be a dental assistant. And then later on, a couple of years later, I was in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was offered the opportunity to go to their expanded function dental auxiliary course at Case Western Reserve University. So in those days, we were taught to place and finish composite and amalgam restorations. We were part of the dental school program, and it was a year-long curriculum. And I have a certificate for, we call it an EFTA certification. I came back to Nevada, and Nevada to this day doesn't recognize that certification. However, it really taught me a lot, and I really found that I love dentistry. I love the artistry of restorative dentistry. I love the concept of oral health. I also found occlusion very interesting. So as a dental assistant, and then later on when I went to dental hygiene school, occlusion plays a significant role in our health of the dentition, how the teeth work together. And then you can also have wearing and other issues when you have malalignment. So as a dental hygienist, I always found that very interesting. I went back to school very much like Dr. Wolfe in my 30s. I had a young son. I think my son John was about 18 months old when I started dental hygiene school. I fondly remember reading an anatomy book and nursing a baby. So I was constantly juggling family of 3 children, going to school and succeeding and passing my boards and all of that good stuff. After dental hygiene school, and during dental hygiene school, I guess my other piece of public health is my colleague Chris and I, our community project was water fluoridation. And at the time there was a bill draft in the Nevada legislature to fluoridate Clark County, which is Southern Nevada. And that was our community dental health project. Being very naive dental hygiene students, we didn't know what a legislative process was all about and what a big undertaking that was. But we jumped in, we worked with Junior League on the campaign and the Dental Society and the Dental Hygienists Association to have a successful campaign to fluoridate Southern Nevada's water system. And to this day, Southern Nevada is the only county, Clark County in Nevada, that has community water fluoridation. So I get to be very proud to say I was part of that coalition that made sure that Southern Nevada had water fluoridation. And I kind of got the bug for public health, and that the idea that you can only do so much with your own two hands with creating service for people and providing oral health care, kind of like what Dr. Wolfe said. If you think bigger, coalitions can do a broader scope of public health. You can, with programs and sealant programs, there's a bigger reach to serve more. So when we start to put programs together, your ability to serve others is huge. So after dental hygiene school, I was offered an opportunity to be a part of the oral health program, and I was our state sealant coordinator and then also the coalition coordinator, which meant that I went to different areas in Nevada to bring people together, stakeholders, to try to implement some sort of oral health programming. I literally flew to very remote areas in northern Nevada, very much like Texas. Nevada is very spaced out. We go from the mountains to the desert, very much like Texas. And you have isolated pockets of communities where they are very underserved. Lots of times there isn't even a dentist in those small rural communities, and those folks have to travel hundreds and hundreds of miles to get to care. So when we look at school sealant programs and mobile programs, those really come and meet the need, which is huge. And through that tenure at the oral health program, I kind of decided in 2009 to start a nonprofit, Future Smiles. So I'm the founder, and I applied for the 501c3, and I initially started with a school sealant program. That program today, before COVID, served 50 schools in Clark County, Southern Nevada, Las Vegas. About 2 years ago, 2018, we were given a grant to be able to renovate a school health center into a dental facility. So that is the first school-based dental facility in Nevada that is home for a dentist and the dental hygienist and an entire dental team. The NWP Dental Wellness Center serves, our goal is to serve 2,000 children in a year. So we're very busy. We are open Monday through Friday. And right now during COVID, it's the only facility that's opened. Our sealant team has been on hiatus since last March because of remote learning. What we're finding with COVID is a lot of the families are not going out into the community. We try to do some student support clinics, but those have been very few and far between. Again, I'm very optimistic that Clark County will be reintroducing students into the classroom on Monday, March 1st. And I'm hopeful that we will be able to bring the school sealant program back into the schools by April. So fingers crossed, everybody. But I guess my bigger journey is, what did I do beyond dental hygiene? I became a nonprofit leader. So I learned how to grant write, and I've taken some courses through UNLV and become certified in nonprofit management, grant writing, and fundraising. So today I am more of a nonprofit administrator than a clinical dental hygienist, but I still have all that dental hygiene knowledge, and it allows me to be very effective with the dental team. If you had told me 10 years ago when I started Future Smiles that I would hire a dentist and that I would have a staff of 12, 13 dental assistants, dental hygienists, and dentists that would work for me in Future Smiles, I don't know that I would have ever thought that would be possible, but it is. And that's where I am today. I think at that, I will just say it's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to hearing your questions. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Terry. Our next panelist is a graduate from Eastern Washington University. Welcome, Ms. Bari Rust Clark.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to be a part of this Saturday morning SADA presentation. Good job, students, for being up on Saturday and starting your studies. Thank you for joining us. So as Charlene said, I graduated from Eastern Washington University way back in 1998. I have my Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene, and then I got a minor in interpersonal communication while I was there as well. I'm going to follow some written notes so I stay on task for you guys. But I have been a clinical hygienist in private practice, both cosmetic and general practices for the last 22 years. I've been a solo hygienist in a practice with one doctor. I've been in practices with 2, 3, and 4 hygienists with more than one doctor. So I've had some variety there. I've worked a traditional hygiene schedule with 1 patient per hour, and I've worked an assisted hygiene schedule with more than 1 patient per hour with the help of a dental assistant. I've worked in offices where the dentist prefers to give his own anesthetic, and we as hygienists do our own anesthetic. And I've worked in offices where the dentist likes the hygienist to do all of the administering of anesthetic for the restorative patients as well. I've worked 5 and 6 days a week back in my younger years. And I've also taken a year off when we adopted our infant daughter back when I lived in Reno, actually, Terry. So I've been in Nevada too, although currently I am in Washington State. And now I work 3 to 4 days a week, with 3 days a week kind of being my optimum schedule, my ideal schedule. Now that our daughter is 12, that 3 days a week works perfect. My husband and I have had the opportunity to move a few times over the length of our careers. So I've had the opportunity to practice in multiple states in a variety of clinical settings. But as you can see, clinical dental hygiene has definitely provided me with a lot of flexibility in my career, working and not working, stepping in and out of different practices for various lengths of time. As a clinical dental hygienist, I really strive to provide compassionate care. One of my favorite things about being a hygienist actually is building relationships with my patients. I really enjoy that autonomy that hygiene provides us, having that hour with patients, getting to know patients. I've been in my current practice now almost 12 years, and to see a patient and then see that patient's child, who might be an adult child, but then see that patient's child and just see people through their life stories and process. I really like that. Unfortunately, patients die. And so you work through that with family members too. But I feel like it's a really special thing that we as hygienists get to be a part of people's lives like that. And I really enjoy that. So that makes me believe that hygienists are really in a unique position to connect with their patients, and that we really go beyond just dentistry. As you're hearing from our current speakers, we're caring for the whole person and just their family. I am a past president of the Washington State Dental Hygienists Association, and I currently serve as a member of the ADHA Task Force on Return to Work. You maybe have talked a little bit about that in your studies. I'm very passionate about hygienists being members of their professional association, and I really appreciate ADHA's steadfast commitment to us as hygienists to empower and unite us as a group. So I'm going to rewind just a little bit to when I was a student and kind of how my career has progressed and provided me, again, as the other speakers have said, provided me with opportunities that I did not foresee or would have said would have been in my future. So while I was a student at Eastern Washington University, we had a very active student organization where we learned about ADHA, learned about our Washington State Dental Hygienists Association, and what it did for us as a profession of dental hygiene. One of my classmates, Marilyn, She was older than most of us, more experienced in life. She was very passionate about the importance of membership in our state and our national association. She was a really good cheerleader for our group. And this, I mean, I can still see myself in the room at school when we would have our SATA meetings, and this was over 22 years ago. But she would stand up there and she would encourage us to be involved as her classmates and just really recognize the importance of ADHA. And at the time, I was not nearly as vocal as she was, but I was absorbing it all. And I really appreciated her passion. So one of our instructors at Eastern, well, I'm going to back up just one more step. All of our instructors at Eastern were very passionate also about ADHA, and they were all members. They guided us, and we learned from watching them, basically. We watched how they were involved in our state organization. Some of us attended the same meetings that they would attend, such as our annual session, our House of Delegates, continuing education meetings. I watched them hold positions within our state hygiene association for, holding positions of leadership and service for their hygienist community. I watched them support their organization through their contributions of time, talent, and monetary giving as well. They supported legislative actions, as we said, legislative actions of the state. And as students, we got to participate in that legislative action as well. When I look back on the experiences provided to us through our instructors, I'm very grateful that they modeled that participation as a member of our association. In my final year of dental hygiene school, the dental hygiene program I went to was a 3-year program. So I was there for 3 years, but in that final year of dental hygiene school, I was presented with the Future Leader Award. So each dental hygiene program in Washington State at the time selected one student from their graduating class to receive this award. The recipients were selected by their program faculty members, and then our Washington State Dental Hygiene Association presented the award at their annual program. The award also included a full year's membership of ADHA, compliments of our state association. At the time, I really honestly didn't even know that the award existed. So when I had an instructor pull me into her office and tell me about this award, I was really surprised, but also humbled that I had been selected from my classmates. My instructors saw leadership skills in me that I did not see myself and that I did not realize myself, kind of as Josephine was talking about. Other people see potential in you that you may not see in yourself. So be open to that. And we'll talk about that a little bit here too. So fast forward a few years after my graduation from Eastern, I continued as a member of my state association and ADHA. I took part in local component meetings, community service activities, general state meetings, kind of all the things. I kept up with my newsletters and I paid my dues. I wasn't doing a lot, but I paid my dues. One day I received a call from one of these past professors of mine, and she had also served on the executive committee for our state association. She encouraged me to submit my name as a nominee for the position of state secretary and attend the upcoming House of Delegates where our next leaders would be elected. So how did she know that I had just read that in the newsletter, that there was an opening for this position? And how did she know I was interested? It's like she was reading my mind. But I didn't have the courage to seek out more information until she encouraged me to do so. And she helped connect me to our state executive director and get the ball rolling. So if somebody pushes you, take that guidance. I ended up serving in the position of secretary for a couple of terms. I became more and more excited about participating on the state leadership team. At the time, I happened to live in an area of the state that did not have an active component. So I started one, building it one hygienist at a time, making personal connections, because it was important to me that our state have representation across the state. I continued to be active in the association. I held the positions of vice president, president-elect, immediate past president, president, of course, and delegate to the ADHA annual session, which was all great. And I loved it. I really loved it. Many, many years under my belt with that. I love being involved with other hygienists, like you see here, that we're moving our profession forward. I've had the opportunity to testify and provide testimony to the state legislature during committee hearings, which I never thought I would be brave enough to do. I've spoken with legislators and their aides about our legislative agenda and providing access to dental care in our state. I've been a mentor to students, and I continue to mentor other hygienists, which I also really enjoy, which is what others did for me when I was a student and a newly licensed hygienist. So seek out those mentors. Since then, I have participated in some committee work within my state association. And then, as I mentioned last year, I was appointed by the ADHA president to serve on the Return to Work Task Force as a result of the current pandemic. Where we produced the ADHA interim guidance on return to work. So hygienists had recommendations on how to safely return to practicing during this unprecedented time. And hygienists were waiting for us as an association to present that information. It was very challenging. There was a ton of reading and research to do. Yet the whole experience was very rewarding for me to participate in, and I'm very glad that I was invited to do that. What I've learned from my personal journey so far is this: allow others to be of encouragement to you and provide their mentorship. Believe in yourself, which is always easier said than done, right? But believe in yourself, grasp opportunities as they are presented. Even if it's something you've never done before and feels uncomfortable, if it's outside of your box, allow yourself to do that. It will be rewarding for you, as is, offer yourself as a mentor as you continue to grow in your profession. And that will be rewarding to the future students and hygienists that you help as well. And finally, allow yourself to be proud of your efforts and accomplishments. You do a lot to get through dental hygiene school, but you have a lot more ahead of you. A couple more things. If there's a couple more minutes, Charlene, is that okay? Thank you. Just a little encouragement I'd like to share with you as you kind of finish your dental hygiene education and prepare for your career. Confidence before competence. Have you heard that before? My guess is that you have heard this from your instructors. The same pertains to when you start your professional journey in the workforce. Confidence in yourself and your choices will keep you afloat until you have really built that true competence in the service that you provide. Competency comes with the time and the energy that you put into your work. However, confidence is what you've been building while you've been in school preparing for this career. So you have that. You can continue to use it the moment you graduate. Be open to learning throughout your journey as a dental hygienist, no matter what field of practice you determine is right for you. And I don't just mean book learning. I mean learning from everyday experiences that are going to present themselves to you. Having a growth mindset, which, as you likely know, means believing in your talents, that they can be developed, knowing that it takes true effort to accomplish mastery, understanding that mistakes are part of learning, allow yourself to make mistakes, seeing failure as an opportunity, but also recognizing that failures are temporary. Be welcoming of feedback, challenges, even sometimes if it's not the feedback that you were striving for, and just allowing yourself to gain inspiration from others' successes will lead you well. In the clinical setting, you'll learn from the dentists that you work with. You'll learn from your colleagues. And sometimes, even more importantly, you're going to learn from your patients. Listen to your patients and what they need from you. I still, to this day, have a patient experience from one of my first years outside of school. And I learned a lot from that patient. Your instructors have mentioned that your time in this dental hygiene program is not an end all for learning. about how to practice dental hygiene. Yes, you've gained valuable clinical skills and experiences. You learned about healthcare ethics. You're very knowledgeable about oral health, disease prevention, and treatment. But you will learn so much more in the next 5 years outside of school. Keep up that desire for learning, and you will achieve great things. So as you embark on your path as a dental hygienist, remember this: you are a dental professional, you are a healthcare professional, and a leader within your dental teams. As a professional, it is our duty to be members of our professional association, ADHA, the association that supports us as hygienists and the work that we do, advocates tirelessly on our behalf, protects our scope of practice, which is huge, provides ongoing educational opportunities, provides representation for us on a national scale so that we are recognized as the experts in dental hygiene and the voice of dental hygiene. That really matters. We are a very thoughtful and powerful group. So welcome. It takes all of us to stay connected to our association so we can continue to contribute to our patients and make an impact on serving the health of our communities. So good job, students.
Thank you so much, Vari. Thank you for your encouraging words. Thank you. Our next panelist is a graduate from Texas A&M, Caruth School of Dental Hygiene, which it may not have been called that when she was there, but welcome, Melissa Lester Scott.
Hi, good morning. Thank you guys for your time this morning. I'm very honored to be here. As Mrs. Dickerson said, I did when I attended dental hygiene school, it was a different name. Our school changed names. It was Baylor College of Dentistry when I attended 21 years ago. So I have a unique story. It's a very cool story, and it's a little different than everyone else's on the panel. So I practiced clinical dental hygiene for 17 years. And in that time, I served on many different committees and board positions for both my local component, the Dallas Dental Hygienists Association, as well as TDHA's on the board for TDHA. And I put in many hours, but it was all very worth it and very fulfilling and a very crucial part of being a hygienist, I think. Through the years, I remained close with my friends from my classmates in my class, and I networked. I networked very hard, and I developed very good relationships within the industry over the years. But I started having some back issues, and I did not listen to my instructors. I did not follow proper ergonomics, being very honest. I've been very honest about that over the years. And when those patients would say, oh, don't lean me back too far, or, make those comments, I was the sweet hygienist that would not say no. And I would lean and put my body into horrible positions to accommodate them instead of thinking long-term for my career. In the meantime, I had a son, so I started having back issues. And then I had a son who had some pretty severe medical issues when he was born. And I knew I was going to have to start making some changes. Actually, let me back up. Prior to that, I was selected through my relationships with TDHA and the networking I'd done and being on the different positions that I'd been with TDHA. American Eagle Instruments selected a dental hygienist for the state of Texas, and I was nominated by our state president at the time to American Eagle Instruments to attend a conference in Florida called Career Fusion. And so they paid my way. I went with American Eagle Instruments on scholarship. And it was a really interesting conference where I learned different career alternatives. I had never given a PowerPoint in my life, so I learned how to do PowerPoint presentations. I took writing courses, There were corporate sponsors like American Eagle Instruments there at the time. And so I once again networked, and I met a lot of key people in representing different manufacturers in the dental industry. So then I came home with that, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew something would come out of that. I continued to have back issues. We had our son who had medical issues, and I needed to not practice full time anymore. And then Young Dental reached out to me, and they started a hybrid sales position. It was called a clinical representative program. And they were looking for practicing dental hygienists who were leaders, considered leaders in their community, in their areas, that had served on multiple positions within the association. That was very important to them. And I liked that about Young, that they were looking for active members, ADHA members. And so basically I started working 1 day a week clinically to help my back. And then I worked a couple of days a week for Young, doing different events. I would go to ADHA meetings and local component meetings and represent Young there with a table and educating hygienists on the dental hygiene products. So all these things, it was really funny for me because some things I thought I would never use from dental hygiene school, now being on the manufacturing side, I was pulling out some of my dental materials courses. I had to start relearning and pull from memory. So don't say I'll never use this again, because I promise you it may come around that what you were taught in school, things you didn't think you would need, you will. So I had to relearn, what's in a prophy paste so that I can understand the benefits of it, to then educate hygienists. How can this help your patients? Fun stuff like that. I got to go to dental hygiene schools and present to the students about the products and do product presentations, that kind of stuff. In the meantime, I continued networking, and I got elevated to do some really cool things with Young Dental. I got to travel quite a bit. I managed a team in the Southwestern United States. So I got to do some pretty cool stuff. And it allowed me flexibility with my son, who was having some medical conditions, and it gave my back a break. I knew that there was no way with my back issues I could continue practicing for another 20 to 25 years. My body just couldn't handle that. And so I really focused on the sales part. And even though we weren't traditional sales rep, there was an aspect of sales in it. And then one day, Premier Dental Products reached out to me and offered me a full-time position. And they are a dental products manufacturer, but they manufacture not just dental hygiene products, but also dental products. So once again, my dental materials classes were coming in handy. And Premier Dental, there are many companies out there that really value a dental hygienist and our knowledge and our background and our abilities to be able to talk from clinician to clinician and have that peer-centered conversation versus some salesperson that's never seen a patient a day in their lives. I mean, let's be honest. There's some credibility there that plays a factor into it. So I completely transitioned out of clinical dental hygiene. I still have my license. I still clean my family's teeth just to keep up my skills. But I transitioned full-time with Premier Dental. Now, I want to say that sales, a lot of people think sales is very glamorous, and it's not. It is very hard work. The territory I had with Premier was very, very big. I had half of the state of Texas and all of Oklahoma. So I was traveling 1 to 2 nights a week away from my family. Hours that I put in, 50 plus hours a week. There are nights, it's weekends. So gone are the hours of Monday through Thursday, 6:30 to 3:30. I had great hours when I was practicing, and But that changed. There's no walking away from it. My phone's always ringing. But I do have flexibility. I do have the ability to, if my son has something at school, I can schedule my schedule most of the time to be there. But I'm still applying everything that I learned in school. And I can talk about how I would personally utilize these products or whatever that I'm responsible for. But like I said, I never dreamed. I was the hygienist who, when my doctor would ask, hey, can you go get the red striped football diamond? I need to adjust this occlusion. I had no idea what that was. And never in a million years would I dream that I would be selling those products. So please remember the things that you learn in dental materials. Now, over the time, I worked for Premier Dental for 3 years and continued to network, work hard, build relationships. And I'm so excited. You guys are some of the first ones to hear this. And it's not in my bio, but all of my hard work has paid off. And I, starting tomorrow, start the job of my dream, something I never thought I would get to, but I will be working for Hugh Freedy, the Hugh Freedy Group. We have, the name has changed because of an acquisition. So our bread and butter as dental hygienists are instruments that we use. It's my passion. It's my powerhouse. So starting tomorrow, my territory will be smaller. I won't be traveling as much. And, but I would not be here and I would not have gotten this position if it wasn't for extremely hard work, long hours, networking, and it's all come to fruition. So that's kind of my story. It's very different than everyone else on the panel, but, anyways, I look forward to any questions that you may have in a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing your story. Our next panelist is a graduate from Texas Women's University, our dental hygiene program, and we're very proud to welcome Lieutenant Commander Cynthia Chenault.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you guys this morning. I actually, it's a surprise that I'm kind of here because I was called just about a week and a half ago to go deploy in response of COVID-19, which is kind of unique and interesting for a dental hygienist. But anyways, I was called back and I'm awaiting a new deployment, getting ready to go assist with a mass vaccination clinic up in Pennsylvania. So my bags are packed. I'm still living out of my suitcase for the past week and a half, which is in the center of my living room. But I'm just so excited to be able to be here with you today to discuss my journey as a United States Public Health Service officer and representing 2 different federal agencies. And I just want to let you know that you might think that your journey for your career to dental hygiene begins after graduation, but it really doesn't. It really begins right here in a classroom setting and things that you're learning from your instructors, you know, at the university or college that you're attending, and, you know, exposure to hygiene and clinical care, what you're getting out in the community, and through your rotations. So anyways, I'm just happy to be here and share my journey with you. I have been a U.S. Public Health Service officer now for about 11 and a half years. I began my career with Indian Health Service back in 2010. So after I graduated hygiene school, I did work out in the private sector for a couple of years, but I just really wanted to do something different. I really enjoyed you know, community and working with underserved populations. And I had a lot of encouragement from one of my instructors, Dr. Beatty. And she had kind of put the bug in my ear about Indian Health Service. And I kind of started doing some research and looking into it and uploading my application to the IHS website and, soon after received a phone call, and the ball started kind of rolling. I started exploring dental hygiene in a different setting. I learned that there weren't only clinical opportunities for dental hygienists within the U.S. Public Health Service, but there were also administrative roles that hygienists can fill as well. So I began my career, like I said, with Indian Health Service. I was put in contact with the Dental Support Center director up in Montana, and he offered to fly myself and my family up to Montana to go kind of explore the area and check out the service units that really were in need of a hygienist. So I spent about a week up there visiting about 3 different locations, and kind of determined and had my heart set on one in a small town called, I lived in Havre, Montana, but the community I was serving was Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, which was about an hour away. So I had the extraordinary privilege of working with the Gros Ventre and Assiniboine tribes. As a clinical hygienist, I did get to go out into the community and utilize mobile equipment and form partnerships with the community health nurse within, the schools that were on the reservation, and, perform screenings and establish like fluoride varnish and sealant programs. So I loved that. After I served in that position for 2.5 years, I transferred to another IHS federal clinic that was located in South Carolina, where I had the privilege of working with the Catawba tribe. And I just really had great experience and mentors around me there. There was another dental support center director that we had a good relationship with that used to come to our service unit a couple of times a year and perform like evaluations to see how we were doing. That was really my first exposure at developing a local basic screening survey at that local level, where you were measuring like the decay rates and caries experience and caries history of certain age groups within the reservation. And that really gave us the information to be able to utilize or not utilize, but it really gave us a chance to know how to target our resources. And what we were seeing is that the children within the community had very high caries rates. And in Indian country, anyways, the disparity is very, very great. They have a 4 times untreated dental decay as opposed to other populations within the United States. So to, form these partnerships and friendships with the tribal organizations, anywhere you could think about reaching kids, whether it was an early Head Start program, a Head Start program, or an after school program, like we were there. Myself and the dentist and our little small team of 2 dental assistants used to go out and perform, fluoride treatments and sealants quarterly. And then we performed, we measured our progress annually through the use of that basic screening survey. And so I also, during Indian Health Service, my career and time with Indian Health Service, got to learn how to write grants. They had annual conferences where you could go and learn how to basically do grant writing and support your communities and establish like prevention programs. So I loved that aspect of it. It just really kind of gave you a way to see your impact like beyond the traditional walls and the boundaries of the clinic. I loved it so much. I was with IHS for about 9.5 years, but after that, I really wanted to obtain an advanced degree and take oral health to a new level and get into some kind of management of managing an oral health program on a national level. So I currently work with the Health Resources and Services Administration, otherwise known as HRSA. Headquarters is located here in Rockville, Maryland, and I work within the oral health branch, and I oversee training grants that support training grants that support dental institutions and community-based organizations and giving their students good training and exposure to serving underserved and rural communities. So I've been at this job now just currently for a little over a year and a half, and got to be able to see like the impact and the transition and policies and changes that have, come about. And I've just enjoyed it so much. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have about U.S. Public Health Service, about dental hygiene, about being a clinician or being in an administrative role. It's a very, very wonderful career and a unique opportunity for any dental hygienist. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Wow, what great things you all have done, and your contribution to the profession of dental hygiene. Thank you, and thank you so much for being here.